Everybody, welcome to If She Can Do It. I'm your host, Natasha, and I am so excited to share with you our very first episode. But before we do that, I want to give you a little bit of background information into who I am and why I started this podcast. So, as a former high performance athlete and a woman who studies in sport media, I have struggled with a lot of insecurities and self-doubt and finding it really difficult to kind of just put myself out there. But I've also found in those instances where I have challenged myself and have put myself out there, by listening to advice from women who have been in my shoes, I've actually grown a lot more. So if that sounds familiar to you, then this is exactly what that podcast is going to do. I want to give you advice from women who have been in your shoes and gone through the situations that you may have questions about, to give you that empowerment to believe in yourself. This is all the advice that I wish I had when I started in the sport industry. So if you're looking to go for a career and you have some fears about it, then this podcast is for you. And thank you so much for listening in. So without further ado, today's episode is all about confidence. Sometimes I take a look around me and I wonder, how does everyone else around me seem so confident? What do I do on the days where I don't feel confident? How do I build my confidence? Confidence is a journey. It's something that's not going to go like this. It's a day-by-day thing. Sometimes it's a minute-by-minute thing. And today, Emmy and I are going to talk all about it. Today, I'm joined by none other than Emmy Curtis. Emmy is in the U of T journalism program. Also from BC, she's got her hands full here out east. Gotta get my glasses on for this one. Alrighty, you ready for this? Emmy does the social media for the U of T Varsity Blues. She's on the broadcast team for the Fraser Valley Bandits pro basketball team. She's in the U of T sports business media and also a sports writer for the Varsity magazine. Whew! You may also know Emmy from TikTok, where she shares her inspiring videos about being a woman in sport. She's built quite the following for herself with 22,000 followers. And today I'm so excited to welcome her to the very first episode of If She Can Do It. I think my favorite part about this conversation was how much Emmy and I had in common. Both as women in sport media, Emmy herself an aspiring sportscaster, I really respected her comments on how to overcome the haters. We're both still on our confidence journey, and so this is just the beginning, but here's our conversation. Okay, so let's just give some background information first on how you knew that you wanted to get into the sports industry. Like, did you ever have like an aha moment kind of where you knew that this is what you wanted to pursue?
Yeah, totally. So I always grew up in a sports family. My dad's a huge sports fan, always watching sports on the TV. And so naturally, like that was our time together. That's how we bonded, my dad and I, even my mom and my sister. And so my aha moment was honestly, I was sitting on the couch with my dad. We had the Super Bowl on, and for the first time ever, I'd seen Erin Andrews. And I looked at her and I was just like, yes, that is it. I want to be her. I literally looked at my dad. I was like, Dad, I'm going to be her. Like, I'm going to be the next Erin Andrews. And so that was kind of my aha moment. And I was always an athlete growing up, played basketball. And so I was already kind of in the sports community in my hometown. And from that aha moment, I kind of just started looking for every opportunity, and it just went from there. And I've never looked back, and it's been so great so far.
Yeah, when you kind of look at your journey so far, who's been like a huge support for you throughout all of it?
Yeah, in terms of like sportscasters, obviously Erin Andrews, she was my aha moment. Carissa Thompson, Doris Burke are some of the big female icons, sportscasters that I've looked up to the most. But in terms of my personal career, it's always been my mom. She has always had great leadership roles and work. And I think she was always this kind of figure for me that you can be anyone you want to be. You can pursue any job you want to pursue. It doesn't matter if you're a woman or if you're trying to go after, a job in a male dominated industry. It doesn't matter. As long as you work hard, you put yourself out there, you're kind, you show people that you're energetic and involved and determined. You can be anyone you want to be. And so I think she has really inspired me the most in terms of my journey, and just having confidence as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. My mom was someone for me that was a huge role model. And, when I was growing up, she was also in a male dominated industry. She was very independent. And so I think growing up, without even knowing it, she was instilling in me this independence and how being, you know, a woman in any industry is always possible. So going into the sports industry, I think many people know that it's male dominated. There is that barrier for women to enter, but my mom was always the person that was like, if you want to do it, like do it, but don't just half try. You have to put your all into it. You have to really really want it. And I think moms are definitely always that person who's always going to be there for you, and they're like the best people to teach you that, what, yeah, go for it. You can do whatever you put your mind to. So, oh, shout out to
For
moms.
sure.
Such a
Yeah,
feel good
honestly, like
story.
I remember my mom, like when I was like little, like kindergarten age, she volunteered a lot and worked a lot and she brought me everywhere. I think that was also a
Mhm.
big part of me being where I am now and the confidence that I have now is that I wasn't always at a daycare or always at my grandparents. Like she took me everywhere, volunteering, working, community events. I was brought everywhere. So I think that also was like a huge, I'm just like thinking about it now,
Mhm.
what allowed me to have the confidence where I am now.
Yeah, because she was willing to be there for you and, make sacrifices and everything. And I mean, looking back too, I think all the sacrifices that my mom made really had an impact on me getting into sports. I mean, I wouldn't have even been in Ryerson Sport Media had it not been for my mom. She was the one who found the program and said, hey, you should do this. And so even her saying, hey, you should apply to this was instilling confidence in me, saying, oh my God, if she thinks I can do it, then I can do it. And that's the whole point of this podcast. It's like if she can do it, I can do it in like just the most empowering, encouraging way. So far in your journey, I know that in our previous meeting we talked about how you've just signed with TikTok. So congratulations.
Thank
Um,
you.
but what has your sports journey been like so far?
Yeah, honestly, it's been amazing since the day I knew that this was what I wanted to do. I always looked for opportunities to get involved, and you grow this kind of community, this sports community. It's so welcoming and it's so full of energy, and it's just so exciting. And in terms of like the TikTok thing, that's been so great because I started off not being kind of sports themed. I was just kind of doing funny little videos as everyone does. I actually made a TikTok account as a joke originally, as many people also did. And it kind of just took off. And then when I decided, hey, like, let's like make this more niche, let's stick to the women in sports kind of theme. Um, it really it really became this big deal for me, and these girls were in my DMs and they're always like texting me. They're like, hey, like, how did you get involved? What can I do? Tell me how you're so confident, all these things. And it's so crazy to hear because I'm just starting my journey as well. Like
Yeah.
I'm in the very beginning stages of in terms of my long-term goals. I'm just at the beginning. So
Mhm.
it's kind of cool to have this community of girls behind me, even though we're both kind of at the same level. But if
Yeah.
I can inspire anyone trying, not even just women or girls, like if I can inspire anyone to go after the career they want to go after, and feel free to share it with everyone and inspire everyone, then that makes me very happy. And so in terms of me getting involved in the sports industry, it's been the best decision I've ever made so far.
I think the sports industry definitely has a lot of energy to it, and it's easy to shy away from it in one sense, and it's easy to say, "Oh, I don't belong here," or whatever. But it's also, I think it's so important for people to feed off of that energy and really empower each other. I find that there is a pretty small community of women right now around me in sports, but I know that it's much bigger. And I find that whenever we're supporting each other, we just feel so much more powerful, like as a unit, as kind of just women coming together, it feels so much bigger than it actually is. Like there might just be like four of us in a room, but when we're all, bouncing off of each other and coming up with ideas and talking and showing that, why we're here, it feels so much more empowering. Talk to me about how your confidence has kind of built over the course of your journey in sports so far. Like, where did it start versus where is it today? And what do you think helped get it there?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So I in school, I kind of always struggled in school. I feel like I was always a bit of an odd duck. I had this a lot of energy. I was this big personality, and I didn't always feel like I fit in very well. And so,
Mm,
I had some struggles in school, and my confidence was very low. I was very insecure. Um, wasn't a huge talkative person, just kind of like stayed behind the scenes, did my thing, just kind of went through the motions. And then once I started getting involved in sports, that was when I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like my personality is too big. I'm too much for this like staying behind the scenes personality. And so like in terms of my confidence, it was never a flip the switch thing. It was not a okay, today I'm going to be confident. It's been a journey and I'm still working on that journey. Um, Obviously opportunities help, getting involved help, keeping myself busy
yeah.
really helped in terms of my confidence. Getting involved in my community at the beginning, kind of how I started also getting involved in the sports community was volunteer coaching a basketball team on the weekend.
Yeah.
And because I was a basketball player, it put me in this coaching position. So now it kind of forced me to be a leader.
Mhm.
I had to pretend like I had this confidence. I had to fake it till I made it, because if I didn't have the confidence, like the young girls that I was teaching, they weren't going to feel confident either. So I think that that was like the one of the first moments where I had to have confidence, or else, there was going to be a problem. And then just kind of from there, you get these opportunities, and they kind of give you a little bit of an ego boost, and slowly but surely, you develop your confidence, and I the more opportunities you get, the more you learn, and the better you feel. So I feel
Mhm.
like just throughout my journey, getting involved has been the biggest confidence boost for me.
That's really interesting. I know you talked about the ego boost there too. And I want to talk about that because I think that's so huge. Just the littlest compliment that someone can give you in a day, or saying, "Hey, I think that was really great what you did earlier." That can give you just like that skyrockets me to the moon. That gives me the biggest ego boost ever. And not in a bad way, not in a cocky way, not in an arrogant way. I'm not going to go into my next bit thinking I'm the best.
Totally.
It gives you that reassurance that what you're doing is really good quality and people are noticing, and that makes you feel so good. So I think part of getting involved and putting yourself out there, you're putting yourself in those positions for people to see you and for other people to kind of build you up, and then in turn like you could build other people up, because you never know if a compliment that you've given someone else, whether it's about, it doesn't have to be about their appearance, it can be about their work, it can be about the fact that you're really glad that they came to work today and you're really glad that you're on the team with them, or something like that. It can like make such a huge difference. And I feel like as women, a lot of the time confidence can be very misconceived as maybe, oh, she's arrogant or she has a huge ego, but it's no, you believe in yourself, you believe in what you're doing, and you're ready to show that to the world. And yeah,
Yeah.
I hope that's something that we're slowly changing, whether it's the way you dress that makes you feel confident, or the way you interact with people, or the little compliments every day that really make a difference. And I think, just like you said, it's a journey. You don't feel confident every single day. You're not going to wake up in the morning and kill it every day. But if you kind of tell yourself that you have what it takes, then it really helps. And that kind of goes into my next point, is self-talk. I know in recent years I've tried improving my self-talk, just from being an athlete, especially in an individual sport. Self-talk has a huge effect on my confidence, and I noticed that if the thoughts that I was thinking, no one else can control that, no one else has any idea what I'm thinking in my head, and if it was negative, it would have a huge effect on my performance. So if anything, I've learned that the more I tell myself I can do it, the more confidence I have, and then the more I'll actually do. Is there kind of something that you do in that sense to kind of get yourself over that hump when you're not feeling the most confident, or when you know that you need a little extra ego boost? Do you have like self-talk or something like your go-to that helps?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's one thing that I've always really been drawn to in terms of finding a little bit of extra confidence or motivation in the day is listening to motivational videos. Honestly, as cliche as that sounds, every morning, go on YouTube, find a different one, kind of boosts me for the day, gets me inspired, reminds me about those goals that I have every day that I'm trying to chase after, long term and short term. And so that's kind of always been what's helped me the most. I know, like, even like when I work out, like I know it's weird, but like people always, you put the Drake or the Travis Scott in your ear, no problem. And don't get me wrong, like I love that, but something about motivational videos has just always got me over that like extra hard hill at the end.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, I love that. I think that's something that's so important too, because the more you listen to it and the more you hear it, the more you're gonna remember it in those moments where you need that little extra boost and you may not have the motivational video on deck, but you remember it from when you listen to it in the morning and you're like, yeah, you know what? It was right. I can do it. And then you get over that hump and it's the whole like fake it till you make it thing, but you don't even feel like you're faking it, because the more you tell yourself that you can, the more you're gonna believe it. And then the better you're going to do, the higher you're going to shoot for, which I love.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a big thing that I've instilled in myself as well, is just that repetitive talk, those repetitive thoughts, like always like reminding yourself about what your like end goal is and what you're trying to accomplish. I feel is super important and isn't like talked about enough. Like self-talk is so important. And even like in my journey, like there's been moments of doubt. Like, don't get me wrong, like I feel like on TikTok and as social media is, I portray this image of, oh, I'm always so confident, I'm always so, yes, I know exactly what I'm doing. No, I don't. I mean, everyone has their days, so just reminding yourself on those low days where you're not feeling as confident about what you're trying to achieve, I feel like is so important.
Yeah. Has there ever been a moment where someone said something to you and just immediately you were like, yeah, you're right, and it's always stuck with you?
Yeah, I mean, there's been tons of especially it's upsetting, but we're on the right track. Being a woman in the sports industry, there's been moments where someone has said something to me and it's just felt so degrading, and so like, why am I even doing this? Like, I don't belong here, this isn't right. So yeah, like I have had individual moments where I remember this one guy said to me once, like he's like, oh, like, what do you want to do for a job or whatever? And I was like, oh, like I want to be a sportscaster. And he was like, oh, well, my son tried to be a sports broadcaster and like he didn't make it, and you're a girl, so like I don't know if it's right for you. And I just literally, my jaw dropped and I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, well, I'm not your son, so like no, I had this, yeah. And I was like, pop off me. Yeah, so you get those comments sometimes, especially on TikTok too. I try to delete them all. I feel like it's a bad image for my followers because I'm always trying to instill that confidence. But they come, they go. It is what it is. I feel like that's also a huge confidence thing. You get to this point where they don't affect you anymore. And if you can get there, I feel like that's where, like, that's the goal. You want to get to the point where those stupid little silly comments don't matter anymore. And I feel like that's what I try to instill in my videos, is that like, these things come and go, they happen, moments happen, and we just keep pushing forward, because that's what you got to do in this industry to especially as a woman, to go far. So yeah.
Well, I'm so glad to have women like you on this podcast. It's like
I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you so much for being here. This was so much fun. Yeah, well, good luck with all of your TikToks, with your writing, with U of T, with everything. I'm sure that you've inspired so many people and you're going to inspire so many more.
I hope so. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. I'm back. Thank you so much for listening in to today's conversation. I hope you really liked it. Shout out to Emmy. I really enjoyed this topic. Please like and follow her on social media to follow along with her journey. This is just the beginning for both of us, and I know that she's gonna achieve some really great things. Also, if you haven't already, follow the If She Can Do It social media. There you can tell me what you want to hear about next, and stay tuned with what's happening. Thank you. Bye, guys.